Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Trash Talk is brought to you again by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Strings Tattoo out of New Brighton, Minnesota, Origin Wellness CBD, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, Spartan Martial Arts, the Striking Institute, the Fighters, and TJ's mom. How you doing tonight, TJ?
Man, I can't complain. How you doing?
Doing good. I want to say I'm doing good, but what I was talking with you a little bit before we started recording is just still on the future of combat sports, the future of watching live fights in the arena, cage side or in the stands, what have you. I mean, right now the UFC is putting on events without an audience. NBA is going to be starting pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be doing it without fans in attendance. And same with football when it starts, if it does start on time, which it is expected to. But as of right now, they're saying that they're either going to be limited capacity or no fans as well. I mean, but there's just one major difference between those professional sports in the UFC and the local sports teams and the local guys is all these promotions make their money off of the ticket gate. They have a TV deal. They're not making money off of the advertisement from commercials and things like that. I guess there's no money to be made. Is it worth putting on a show? Because that's what we were talking about. If the fans don't even show up to the fights, is it worth it? And we were talking in those where we talk about it. We were talking more specifically, are the fans going to want to show up because of the virus issue? This is something completely different. Now it's not even a gamble on if people will show up. They're not allowed to.
Yeah, it's definitely a different ballgame because when you talk about, like you said, the local guys, I mean, that's how they make their money is they sell tickets and they bring people in the door. And if they can't do that, you know, what's going to happen? But I think this is a time where, I mean, because who knows? There's no expiration date on this. This isn't, hey, guys, October 1st, everybody's back inside. So it's a tough scenario where you could say, well, you got to sit and wait it out because what does waiting it out entail? I mean, how long is that going to potentially be? So I think this is the time where we got to start seeing people get creative. How are they going to put on shows? How are they going to find a way to generate a different stream of revenue? I mean, there's money to be made. You might not be able to sell tickets, but you just got to figure out that way.
Yeah, and I honestly could think of, like, I guess relying on people going live, hoping people donate, you know, but I don't really know it any much more than that. You're relying on their donation. It's still not a guarantee that you'd get anything. And I mean, and then it goes to the promoters and stuff like that. I mean, how much you have to pay to put on a show to rent out a venue, even though the venue can't be, there can't be any fans in the venue, things like that. But I don't know. It's just when the fight promoters do, or if they do put on a show, I mean, what are they? What precautions are they going to have to go through? Are they going to have to follow the same script as the UFC?
Well, man, I don't think they could. I mean, especially from just a logistical standpoint. You talk about supplying hundreds and thousands of COVID tests, you know, in the last month alone. Lord knows what that bill's footing. So, I mean, obviously health is always the way to go, and you got to be smart. But I think there are smart ways to go about it. So.
Okay, here's one thing too. Like, let's just accept the fact that promoters aren't going to put on a show because they're not going to make enough money to keep going. I mean, they're operating at a loss. You can only do that for so long. I don't know how it's going to work out with the commission because you still have to pay the commission. You have to renew your licensing, all of those things, and then still put on the show and then not receive any money at all. and hope people are going to donate. So let's just assume that the promoters are going to say, no, we're not putting on any cards. We're not putting on any shows. The gyms are finally reopened. The gyms in Wisconsin are, and they're starting to be open and with limited capacity and distancing and things like that here in Minnesota as well. All these guys we were speculating before in previous videos that these guys aren't going to have enough time to train and get in shape when the fights do start to go back. Yeah. Now this presents a new question, and I don't know the answer myself. And with all of these fighters getting so much training, how much of them are going to start to feel like overtrained, or not even just overtrained, but like they're training for nothing? Everybody's in the gym. I mean, obviously they're honing their skills. It's not for nothing, but you want to be able to go out there and display what you've been working on. And there's no promoters out there willing to give you the opportunity to display what you've been working on. I mean, one of the things that I was thinking is that amateurs don't get paid anyway. People start setting up their own gym fights and things like that, which is, I'm not saying do that, and I'm not recommending it either. But fighters want to fight.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's exactly the scenario, and that goes back to kind of what I mentioned earlier. It's time to get creative. It's time to figure this out. You mentioned, I mean, the venue, stuff like that. Well, let's look at it from the bright side then. Imagine how much cheaper these venues will be if you don't have to worry about seating 500 to 1,000 people. I mean, again, this is just my thoughts, and it's not, like you said, not advice for anybody. But, I mean, the way I see this, if you go grab a garage, set up a cage in a garage, if there's enough room to get a cage and 3 people sitting around to judge the fight, that sounds like a venue to me right now. And this is the type of scenario where you do got to give guys opportunity. So even if it is, like you said, a gym owner doing that, where they're not a promoter, but hey, I'll give the commission the $1,500 or whatever it's going to take if you let people come and compete. What's it going to take? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, these all we can do is speculate. But I mean, something's going to happen. I don't see this being the year without fights.
One of the things that I've been thinking about too is, it's kind of goes off a little bit of what you were saying, but operating at a loss, I mean, rent out the venue, pay the people, and once all that is done and you don't have a ticket revenue, you're probably going to have lost money. And then you do that show again, you're probably losing money again. I've been thinking about it, and I've been talking with a lot of the promoters that I do know, and one of the things that they've always said is when you start off, expect to lose money. You're never going to make money your first few shows. Now, let's say these promoters go back to that same mindset and are willing to operate at a loss for 2 or 3 shows, and they alternate, because it doesn't have to be the same one operating at a loss 12 times in a row and then going bankrupt or some shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, if guys are willing to operate at a loss and willing to take one for the team, you keep the sport alive, and you ultimately keep the fighters active. I mean, whether you have any personal stake in the fighters, like you're a manager or a coach and you own a promotion, because that seems to be a common thing for a lot of these local promoters anyway, is having a promotion so that they can put on fights, so that they can offer opportunities to guys to fight, because there's nobody else doing it. It's like the Walking Tall scenario that we always talk. The sheriff, who, like, they didn't want to do it, but they're the best ones for the job, so they need to, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be great to see what does happen, who's willing to take that chance, because the fighters need it, the fighters deserve it, and the fighters want a chance to fight. So let them scrap, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if they give them an opportunity to go out there and fight and perform, I mean, obviously the fighters are going to love it, but then I'm thinking about the aspect of them being, like, a lot of the fighters and a lot of the promotions put on these fights that have mostly amateurs on the card anyway. Give some you're how big of a loss are you operating at? If you throw on a show and you're not paying anybody, I mean, necessarily, you might have to give some gas money, but yeah, this is the one time where I'm like, pros, it sucks to be you. Amateurs, get your work in.
Yeah, you got to look at it as an investment in the future. water these seeds that are the amateur fighters and, you know, watch it blossom, because there's a lot of talent here, and to shelf it all for, you know, who knows when. I mean, it would be a shame.
Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully there's some promotions out there willing to put on some fights and operate at a loss, and or at least hopefully there's the quarantine ends, the distancing ends, fans are allowed back at venues and things like that. I mean, even if it's limited capacity, I mean, fuck, that just means the promotions are probably going to make more money because every seat is VIP now, right? I don't know. But yeah.
Real shit.
So
Ain't no admission.
So let's just hope for the best, and people watching this video, like this video, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damien and TJ. Jump the hole.